The scrapyard stretched endlessly under the pale gray sky of the industrial planet. Rusted hulls of broken starships lay like fallen giants, their metal bodies torn and jagged. Smoke and steam rose from the piles of scrap, creating a haze that made it difficult to see far ahead. Among the scavengers and stray drones, life clung stubbornly, but the atmosphere was harsh, cold and unwelcoming. Alex, a human scavenger, stepped carefully over twisted metal beams, scanning the piles for anything valuable. His boots crunched over broken panels and twisted wires, and his eyes darted constantly. He had grown used to the smell of burnt circuitry and oil, to the sharp edges hidden in the heaps of metal. The scrapyard had its dangers, but it also had opportunities for those willing to take risks. A faint shimmer caught his eye. It was small, pale, and fragile, a movement almost lost in the endless rust and decay. Alex paused and crouched, moving closer. There, half buried under a collapsed hover frame, lay a young alien girl. Her skin was pale with hints of shimmer, like liquid silver, and it bore scratches and burn marks. Her limbs lay stiffly beneath her, and she shivered despite the slight warmth of the day. Alex's stomach tightened. He had seen plenty of abandoned or injured creatures in his time, but something about this girl struck him differently. He reached out carefully, lifting a piece of metal away from her. She let out a weak hiss, a sound of fear and pain curling slightly away from him. Her eyes, large and reflective, looked at him warily. "It's okay," Alex said gently. His voice carried a calm confidence. "I'm not going to hurt you." The girl's lips moved, but her voice was weak, just a whisper. Alex could not understand her words. She spoke in her alien language, fast and harsh, full of sounds his human ears struggled to interpret. Yet her fear and hesitation were clear. Alex decided to act before scavengers or rogue drones noticed her. He carefully lifted her onto his makeshift hover stretcher, a piece of old salvage adapted to carry heavy loads with minimal effort. He made sure her weight was supported and that she felt stable. Her small body trembled in his arms, and her eyes stayed fixed on him, suspicious and alert. As he carried her through the scrapyard, Alex moved slowly, taking detours to avoid unstable piles of metal. Around him, the usual chaos of the scrapyard continued. Other scavengers ignored him, lost in their own searches for anything valuable, while a few stray drones buzzed curiously near the piles. Alex didn't look away from the girl. Every so often he glanced down to see her shivering slightly, her fingers twitching. "Almost there," he said softly, more to reassure himself than her. The girl's mind wandered, and fragments of memories surfaced. She remembered being left behind, abandoned, and the cruelty of her own family. She had been born into a society that valued perfection above all else, and her paralysis made her unwanted. Her family had thrown her into a hovercraft that drifted into the scrapyard, leaving her to fend for herself. Pain and betrayal filled her heart at the thought. Alex sensed her hesitation and didn't force conversation. He simply moved forward, careful and deliberate. The wind picked up, whipping dust and rust into the air, and he tightened the straps around the stretcher. He had survived harsh environments before, but today he carried more than metal. He carried someone fragile and abandoned, someone who needed hope. Hours passed as they made their way to his ship, a small, rugged vessel docked at the edge of the scrapyard. Its hull was scarred from years of travel and minor collisions, but it was functional. Inside, he had space for repair work, storage, and basic living quarters. He carefully lifted her onto a medical bed he had built from scavenged parts. The girl lay still, exhausted, and Alex began inspecting her injuries. Her burns and scratches were serious, but not life-threatening. Her muscles were weak from months of neglect, and her spine showed signs of paralysis from nerve damage. Alex knew he couldn't heal her completely, but he could stabilize her, make her comfortable, and give her a chance. He scavenged medical supplies from his ship and began tending to her wounds, cleaning them carefully and applying antiseptic gel he had engineered from local minerals. The girl flinched at the touch, her distrust still strong. Alex spoke softly, his words slow and deliberate. "I'm not leaving you. You don't have to be afraid." A faint quiver ran through her body. She had expected abandonment, not care. She had learned that help often came with strings attached, or worse, with betrayal. Yet this human did not seem interested in her wealth, her status, or anything other than her survival. She couldn't understand why. Time passed, and she slowly allowed him to check her more thoroughly. Alex gently moved her arms, encouraged small movements, and observed her responses. Her body had atrophied in some areas, making mobility a challenge, but he noted her resilience in tiny gestures, fingers curling slightly, a head turn, a blink of recognition. As evening fell, the scrapyard became quieter, bathed in a dim, orange glow from the setting twin suns. Alex made a small meal, adapted for both of them. He had stored rations for himself, but improvised some nutrients for her. She hesitated at first, her distrust evident, but hunger and exhaustion overcame her fear. She took a few small bites, watching him carefully the whole time. "I'm Alex," he said, introducing himself, "and I'll help you. We'll get through this together." The girl's eyes flickered at his words. She did not understand his language fully, but she sensed his intention. She had never known anyone who chose to help her without demanding something in return. Her family had left her to rot, and yet here was a human who refused to walk away. As night fell, the scrapyard quieted. The occasional hum of distant engines and the rustle of scavengers became background noise. Alex secured the ship's doors and adjusted the temperature to be comfortable for her. She lay still, staring at the ceiling, processing everything. The walls, the smells, the strange human caring for her. It was all foreign, yet it was life. And life was something she had almost lost. Alex settled into a small cot near her bed, keeping watch. He didn't sleep deeply, listening for any threats from the scrapyard. He thought about how humans often survived in harsh conditions not because of strength alone, but because of perseverance, ingenuity, and compassion. He hoped she would learn that humans were capable of much more than her society had led her to believe. Hours passed in quiet tension. The girl's breathing steadied and small movements indicated she was beginning to trust the presence beside her. She thought about the future, uncertain and unknown, but no longer entirely hopeless. A human had chosen to stand with her when no one else had. The next morning, Alex prepared the ship for departure. He had scavenged enough supplies to last them several days, and he planned to take her to a safer planet where he could find proper medical equipment and perhaps someone who could help with her paralysis. The girl watched him, her eyes filled with a mixture of curiosity, fear, and something she had not felt in years: hope. Alex spoke softly as he adjusted her support systems for travel. "We're going to get you out of here. You'll see the stars, maybe worlds you've never dreamed of, and you'll be safe." The girl's body remained weak, but her heart stirred at the promise of escape, of life beyond neglect. She had learned to survive alone, but now, for the first time, she realized she didn't have to. She could trust, even just a little. As the ship lifted off from the scrapyard, Alex piloting with steady hands, the alien girl stared out the viewport. The scrapyard shrank below them, a maze of rust and decay, a place that had tried to define her worth. She saw it disappear beneath the stars, and for the first time she imagined herself free. Alex glanced at her, noticing the subtle changes, the slight relaxation of her body, the faint spark in her eyes. He smiled softly, proud not because of the danger he had faced, but because he had kept his promise. He had refused to walk away, and that simple human choice, ordinary to some, extraordinary in this moment, was enough to change her life. The stars stretched before them, endless and vast, and the girl realized that abandonment had not defined her. Someone had chosen her, protected her, and for the first time she felt that she mattered. The journey ahead would be hard, filled with uncertainty, challenges, and new discoveries. But Alex had shown her that even in a universe full of indifference, courage, kindness, and human ingenuity could shine through. And so, they traveled onward, toward a future that neither could predict, bound together by survival, trust, and the quiet, unshakable courage of a human who refused to leave someone behind. The small ship glided silently through space, leaving the scrapyard and its harsh gray horizon far behind. Inside, the alien girl rested on the bed Alex had carefully prepared for her. Her limbs still trembled slightly from weakness, but the warmth of the ship, the steady hum of its engines, and the human's quiet presence offered her a strange sense of safety she had never known before. Alex checked her vitals once more, making sure the sensors on her bed showed stable readings. He had improvised a number of medical systems from salvaged parts, creating a rudimentary but effective healing setup. He gently adjusted the straps that supported her torso, allowing her a little more movement without risking injury. "You're doing well," he said, as much for himself as for her. "Your body will get stronger. You'll see." The girl's eyes followed his hands, observing every careful movement. She did not yet trust fully, but she sensed his intention was honest. For the first time, someone had treated her as more than an abandoned, useless being. Her heart, so long hardened by betrayal, stirred with something unfamiliar: hope. Days passed as Alex piloted the ship toward a distant colony where advanced medical aid and rehabilitation equipment were available. The journey was long, but Alex made it comfortable. He engaged her in small, simple tasks to help regain some mobility. He encouraged her to stretch her arms, lift small objects, and gradually use her hands more effectively. At first, she resisted, frustrated by her weakness, but Alex's patience never wavered. He adapted parts of the ship to act as exercise equipment, using pulleys, cables, and old mechanical systems. The alien girl learned quickly. Even with her body partially paralyzed, she was intelligent, resourceful, and determined. Her mind sharpened with each challenge Alex presented, while her trust in him grew steadily. One evening, as the ship passed a dense asteroid belt, the girl finally spoke in broken, common words. "Why, you help me?" she asked, her voice small but curious. Alex paused, considering his words carefully. "Because I can. Because leaving you behind would be wrong. And because humans, we try to protect those who cannot protect themselves." She frowned, thinking hard. Her people often saw strength as only physical. But this human strength was different. It came from his mind, his courage, and his choice to stand by someone abandoned. For the first time, she realized that strength was not just muscle or ability. It could be compassion, ingenuity, and perseverance. The ship shook slightly as it navigated the asteroid belt. Alex adjusted the thrusters, guiding them safely between massive rocks. He noticed the girl watching the instruments intently, her small hands mimicking his motions. "Careful," he said, smiling. "It's tricky, but you're learning fast." Hours later, they reached the outskirts of the colony. Alex scanned the area, ensuring the landing zone was safe. He guided the ship down onto a small landing pad far from the main traffic, minimizing attention. Here, he hoped, she could receive proper care, and he could arrange for long-term rehabilitation. As the ship settled, the girl looked out at the colony for the first time. Towers of metal and glass reached toward the sky, lights blinking in patterns she had never seen. The air outside was crisp, and the sounds of distant machinery filled the atmosphere. She felt both excitement and fear. This was new, unknown territory, and yet it promised something she had never had: opportunity. Alex helped her down the ramp, supporting her weight carefully. Together, they entered the colony, moving through crowded streets filled with humans, aliens, and hybrid beings. The girl's eyes widened with curiosity. Her world had been limited, cruel, and isolating, but here, life thrived in diversity. People didn't judge her for her condition, and she felt for the first time a hint of belonging. The medical facility Alex had contacted welcomed them. The staff marveled at the girl's resilience and intelligence, expressing surprise at the care she had already received. Alex worked closely with them, translating her needs and explaining her injuries. He made sure they treated her not as a burden, but as someone worthy of respect and attention. Over the next few weeks, the girl's condition gradually improved. Physical therapy helped her regain partial mobility, and cognitive exercises sharpened her mind. Alex stayed with her as much as possible, encouraging her, guiding her, and celebrating small victories. Each time she managed to lift herself slightly or move her legs a fraction farther than before, he cheered quietly, proud of her determination. Yet even as her body strengthened, news of her rescue began to spread. Word of a human helping an abandoned alien girl reached her home planet. Some of her society viewed Alex as a hero, someone who had demonstrated courage and honor. Others, particularly her family, were furious. They considered him insolent for interfering and demanded her return, claiming that their societal rules had been violated. One day, representatives arrived at the colony, their ships landing with an air of authority. They were tall, imposing, dressed in sharp uniforms adorned with insignias of rank and status. Alex met them calmly, knowing conflict was likely. "You have taken her," one of the delegates said, his voice sharp and commanding. "Return her immediately. She belongs to us." Alex's expression remained steady. "She is not a possession," he said firmly. "She is alive, and she is under my care. She deserves safety, respect, and a chance to live. That is more important than your claims." The girl, standing with support bars at her side, stepped forward slightly. Her eyes glinted with courage. "I choose to stay," she said in her language, then added in broken common, "I want to stay." The delegation stiffened, shocked by her defiance. Her family had trained her to obey, to accept her place in society, but she no longer feared them. Standing beside Alex, she felt strength she had never known. Alex and the girl faced the delegation together. When they attempted to enforce their claim through intimidation or force, Alex used his knowledge of human engineering and quick thinking to protect both of them. He set clever traps, used decoys, and moved with strategy and speed, demonstrating that ingenuity and courage could match superior technology. The girl, inspired by his example, began to participate. Using her partially regained mobility, she assisted in small maneuvers, showing that determination and intelligence could complement raw strength. The delegation found themselves outmaneuvered, their expectations of her compliance shattered. Finally, after tense hours, the delegation retreated. They realized that neither intimidation nor authority would succeed. The girl had found her own voice, and Alex had proven the power of human courage, intellect, and moral choice. In the aftermath, the girl turned to Alex. "Thank you," she said softly. Her voice held genuine warmth, the kind that only comes from trust earned through actions, not words. "You saved me," Alex shook his head. "I didn't save you alone. You fought too. You learned to move, to think, to stand for yourself. That's your strength. I only helped guide it." The girl smiled faintly, a small curve of lips that held pride and gratitude. She had learned that even when abandoned, she could survive. She could make choices. And most importantly, she could trust someone again. Over time, she adapted to life in the colony. She trained with physical therapists, learned new skills, and explored the technology and culture of distant worlds. Her intellect and curiosity flourished, fueled by the encouragement of a human who refused to walk away. Alex watched her progress, quietly proud. Humans were often underestimated in the galaxy, considered fragile or primitive by some alien societies. Yet here he had demonstrated what humans could do: act with compassion, think strategically, and inspire courage in others. His small choices had changed the course of a life, proving that even a single human could make a universe of difference. As they prepared for new adventures, the girl looked out at the stars with Alex beside her. She no longer saw herself as abandoned or useless. She saw a future full of possibilities, a life where courage, hope, and determination mattered more than status, strength, or expectation. The bond between them had grown strong not through obligation, but through trust, respect, and shared struggle. Together they were ready to face the unknown, exploring new worlds and challenges, their spirits intertwined by resilience and the quiet, unshakable courage of a human who refused to leave someone behind. And so, beneath the endless stars and across the vast reaches of space, the girl and the human traveled onward. She had been abandoned, yes, but she had also been chosen, protected, and empowered. Her life had changed forever, and the galaxy itself had witnessed the extraordinary impact of a single human refusing to walk away from someone in need.